3 days before my wedding, I walked into my house and found my fiancé replacing my artwork with his mother's pictures. And that's when I realized I was about to lose everything, unless I acted first. 3 days before I was supposed to get married, I walked into my home and realized I had already lost everything. Or so they thought. I had just wrapped up a brutal 12-hour shift at work. My job isn't exactly light. I'm a forensic financial auditor, the kind who digs into hidden assets and exposes people who think they're smarter than the system. By the time I got home, my brain was fried, my heels were killing me, and all I wanted was silence, a glass of wine, and my own space. But the second I stepped inside, I froze. My living room, normally spotless and minimalist, looked like a chaotic storage unit. Boxes everywhere, packing materials scattered across my rug, and right in the middle of it all, Connor, my fiancé. He was standing on a ladder, casually removing one of my most prized art pieces, the one I bought to celebrate my promotion, and tossing it aside like it meant nothing. In its place, a cheap, outdated family portrait. His mother's face stared back at me from the frame. Connor turned, smiling like he'd just done something thoughtful. "Perfect timing," he said. "Come help me fix this. It keeps tilting." I didn't move. I just asked one question. "What is all this?" He climbed down like it was no big deal. "Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, my mom's moving in. I brought her stuff over today." Just like that. No discussion, no warning. "Moving in?" I repeated. "For how long?" He laughed. "No, Vanessa, permanently." That was the moment something inside me went completely still. Not emotional, not shocked, just calculated. Because I don't panic. I analyze. He kept talking about family, about space, about how we were about to be married anyway, as if that gave him ownership of a house he never paid for. Then the front door opened again, and she walked in, wearing my robe, drinking my wine, like she already owned the place. That's when I realized this wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a takeover. And they had no idea they had just made the biggest mistake of their lives. But what Connor said next didn't just cross a line, it erased the entire future I thought we had. I stood there, watching his mother make herself comfortable in my home like she belonged there. She dropped onto my couch, sighing dramatically, talking about how she'd lost everything and had nowhere else to go. But something about her story didn't sit right with me, not even close. Still, before I could question it, Connor stepped in, defensive, protective, already taking her side. "We're taking care of her," he said firmly. "I've already made arrangements." That word caught my attention. "Arrangements?" I asked. He nodded proudly. "I canceled our honeymoon." For a second, I thought I misheard him. The honeymoon, the one I paid for, the one I planned, the one that cost me $20,000. Canceled, just like that. "We'll do something cheaper later," he added casually. "Right now, we need that money to build a proper space for Mom." I stared at him. "You used my money to renovate my house without asking me?" Before he could answer, his mother chimed in, calling me selfish, saying I made too much money to care about something so small. Small? Connor stepped closer, his tone shifting completely. "You need to start acting like a partner," he snapped. "We're a team, and I'm making decisions for this household now." That sentence told me everything I needed to know. He thought this was his house, his authority, his life to control. And then, like the situation wasn't already absurd enough, his sister showed up, No invitation, no hesitation. Within minutes, the three of them were standing together discussing how I should give up my master bedroom so his mother could be more comfortable. My bedroom, in my house, that I bought with my own money. They spoke like it was already decided, like I had no say, like I was just there to fund it all. I didn't yell, I didn't argue, I didn't even raise my voice. I just listened, because while they thought they were winning, I was documenting everything in my head, every word, every demand, every assumption. They mistook my silence for weakness, but in reality, I was building a case. And by the time I walked upstairs that night, I already knew one thing for sure. There wasn't going to be a wedding. But what I did next wasn't emotional. It was strategic, and it would destroy everything they thought they'd secured. Once I got upstairs, I locked the door behind me. The laughter from downstairs echoed faintly through the walls. They were celebrating, actually celebrating. They thought they had won, that I would give in, adjust, accept my new role. They couldn't have been more wrong. I pulled out my suitcase and started packing, not in a rush, not emotionally, but with precision. Work clothes, documents, jewelry, essentials. Then I moved to the most important part, my office. Every financial record, every legal document, every piece of data tied to my life, I secured it all. External drives, contracts, account access. Gone. By the time I was done, there was no trace of me left in that house except physical furniture. At midnight, when the house went silent, I walked downstairs. Connor was passed out on the couch. His mother had already claimed a room. The place looked like a mess. Empty bottles, trash everywhere. My home already felt ruined. I didn't hesitate. I grabbed a sheet of stationery and wrote a short note. Since you clearly need this space more than I do, I'm leaving it to you. Simple. But what they didn't know, the back of that note told a completely different story. It was a formal, legally binding notice, a 48-hour order to vacate. I left it on the counter, picked up my bags, and walked out without looking back. That door closing behind me, it wasn't defeat. It was the beginning of something far more calculated. 20 minutes later, I checked into a luxury hotel suite, and for the first time in a long time, I felt calm. The next morning, my phone exploded with messages from Connor, angry, mocking, arrogant. He thought I had run away. He thought I had given up the house. He even told me the wedding was still happening and that I needed to come back and apologize. I laughed, because he hadn't flipped the note over. Not yet, and the moment he did, everything would change. But the real damage hadn't even started, because while he was celebrating, I was about to hit him where it hurt the most. While Connor was busy sending arrogant messages, I was doing what I do best, digging. Numbers don't lie, people do. Within minutes of investigating his mother's foreclosure, the truth came out. Her house wasn't lost to the economy. It was paid off, completely. But then I found something else. She had taken out a massive loan, hundreds of thousands in equity, and that money went straight to Connor. That's when everything clicked. I dug deeper into his finances, and what I found was worse than I expected. Debt. Everywhere. Maxed out credit cards, defaulted loans, hidden accounts, and then the real problem, gambling, high-risk trading, offshore platforms, massive losses. He had drained his mother's entire financial safety net trying to recover his own mistakes. And when that failed, he came for me. The proposal, the wedding, the timing, it wasn't love. It was strategy. I wasn't a partner. I was a bailout plan. Everything made sense now. Moving his mother in, canceling the honeymoon, claiming my house. They weren't building a future. They were securing survival at my expense. But just when I thought I had uncovered everything, I found something worse. A loan.
$150,000 under his name, but guaranteed by me. My signature forged. That's when it stopped being manipulation and became a crime. And now that I knew the truth, I wasn't just walking away anymore. I was preparing to end this permanently. I didn't confront him right away. People like Connor don't learn from confrontation. They learn from consequences. Instead, I made a call to the one person in that entire family who actually understood reality, Jamal, his brother-in-law, a real estate attorney, and more importantly, someone who already knew something was off. When we met, he didn't waste time. He already had documents, proof, Connor's financial collapse, the loans, the fraud, even the forged signature. Jamal looked at me and said something I'll never forget. If you go to the police now, he gets arrested. But that's easy. What we want is total collapse. And I agreed, because Connor didn't just lie. He built an entire plan around using me. So we built a better one, a legal one that would strip him of every illusion of control he thought he had. The first step, make sure that house he thought he owned would no longer belong to me. At least, not in the way he expected. Because by the time those 48 hours were up, Connor wouldn't just be losing a house, he'd be losing everything. And what happened when those 48 hours expired is something he never saw coming.
Before you go, if you think this story was shocking, you need to watch this next one. Because what happened there was even more unbelievable. Tap the video on your screen right now.